Optimist by Hegi, summarized by Detailed Book Summaries. Click on the subscribe button. Let us know in the comment the book you would love us to summarize for you. Chapter 1. Origins of a Visionary. Hegi begins her portrait of Sam Altman by tracing his roots. A precocious youth raised in suburban St. Louis, shaped by a reformed Jewish household, a curious intellect, and early signs of ambition. Even as a teenager, Altman stood out for his polymathic tendencies. Not only was he deeply interested in technology, but he pored over literature, politics, and philosophy. This grounded yet restless upbringing laid the foundation for a young man who would yearn to reshape the world. At Stanford, Altman's restless creativity turned into entrepreneurship. He co-founded Looped, a location-based social network, during a time when mobile apps were still nascent. Though Looped eventually failed to scale in the way he'd hoped, the experience exposed Altman to both the exhilaration and risk of startups, managing investors, navigating product pivots, and learning hard lessons about competition and innovation. Simultaneously, Altman's personal life, his relationships, idealism, and vision began to take shape, forming the bedrock of what would become a career defined not just by profit, but by purpose. Hegi weaves in how Altman's time with early mentors, especially at Y Combinator, was transformative. Under the wing of legendary Silicon Valley figures such as Paul Graham, Altman refined his instincts. He learned how to evaluate ideas, back talent, and think long-term. By the time he took leadership at Y Combinator, Altman was not just an investor, but a power broker, someone uniquely adept at mobilizing vision-driven entrepreneurs. His ability to spot disruption, paired with an almost religious zeal for technological progress, foreshadowed his next move, tackling artificial intelligence at a scale few others dared. Chapter 2. Founding OpenAI, Dream and Tension. Second chapter delves into the genesis of OpenAI, a bold experiment in aligning artificial intelligence with a mission for the greater good. Altman, along with co-founders including Elon Musk, made a radical early decision to structure OpenAI as a nonprofit committed to ensuring AGI, artificial general intelligence, would benefit all of humanity. Hegi highlights that this idealism was not superficial. For Altman, technology was not just a business play, but a moral frontier. But from the start, OpenAI embodied tension. The nonprofit board, charged with safeguarding mission, had to reconcile with the capital demands and speed of innovation. Altman, who believed deeply in risk-taking, pushed for aggressive growth. He recruited a small but elite team of engineers and researchers, people fiercely committed to his vision. Yet, as the company scaled, the friction between purity of mission and the practical pressures of funding became more acute. Hegi explores these fault lines candidly. Altman, though visionary, was not without contradiction. He often equivocated in interviews when pressed on how a profit-seeking subsidiary, later launched, might betray the open-source, altruistic roots. His conviction in technological progress sometimes outpaced his board's caution. Still, his charisma, fundraising prowess, and unshakable belief in the promise of AI kept OpenAI moving. The narrative builds a picture of a leader who, more than anything, saw the building of AGI as a sacred trust. Not just a scientific milestone, but a moral mission, even if it meant navigating a maze of governance, power, and risk. Chapter 3: Power Moves, Rivals, and Realpolitik. By the third chapter, Hagi charts Altman's growing dominion in Silicon Valley and beyond. As head of Y Combinator, he had already become one of tech's most influential backers. At OpenAI, he now positioned himself as a steward of a future few fully understood. But this ascent was not free of rivals. One of the most fraught relationships was with Elon Musk, once co-founder of OpenAI, whose ambitions and temperament clashed with Altman's. The two had a complicated dynamic, collaborators turned competitors, intertwined by idealism, but divided by execution. Hagi also introduces the broader ideological currents swirling around Altman. Philosophers, futurists, and effective altruists who believed deeply in existential risk and the potential perils of unaligned AGI. There were influential thinkers whose rationalist ideas seeped into OpenAI's culture and governance. Peter Thiel emerges in Hagi's account as a key early supporter, whose own philosophical leanings and investments shaped conversations that reverberated through the foundations of AI development. Amid this, Altman's personal style shines through. He is a master dealmaker, unafraid to take outsized gambles. He balanced relationships and power plays with deep conviction, sometimes alienating those who could not keep up. Hagi's narrative underscores that Altman's rise was not purely technical. He understood fundraising, narrative, and influence, perhaps even better than code. He could bend institutions to his vision, while painting a picture of a future in which intelligence itself could be reimagined. Chapter 4: The Blip, Crisis, and Comeback. Perhaps the most dramatic chapter in Hagi's biography is the story of Altman's ousting and reinstatement, the episode the OpenAI team would come to call the Blip. In November 2023, Altman was abruptly fired by OpenAI's nonprofit board in a shock decision that reverberated across the industry. The board raised concerns about transparency, leadership style, and accountability, tensions that had been bubbling beneath the surface. Hagi reconstructs those fraught days in vivid detail, based on interviews with board members, senior leaders, and Altman himself. The decision triggered a mass revolt. More than 700 of OpenAI's roughly 770 employees threatened to resign if he was not reinstated. The company was in chaos. Its credibility was on the line. But Altman, ever the strategist, did not back down. Negotiations ensued, public discourse ignited, and within just 5 days, he was back. But this time in a restructured role, with a dramatically reshuffled board. This episode, Heiji argues, revealed something crucial. The governance model of OpenAI was deeply unstable. The hybrid structure, where a nonprofit board exerts control over a for-profit enterprise, made decision-making brittle. Still, Altman emerged not weakened, but more powerful. His return a testament to his sway, his narrative, and the loyalty he inspired. A return that underscored both his strengths and the structural fragility of the very organization he built. Chapter 5. Into the Intelligence Age, Promise, Peril, and Legacy. In the final chapter, Heiji steps back to take measure of Altman's broader vision, not just as a CEO or founder, but as a harbinger of what she calls the intelligence age. Altman's worldview, Heiji shows, is suffused with almost religious faith in progress. For him, building AGI is more than a business play. It's a mission to redefine humanity's future. Yet, she does not shy away from the paradoxes. The same ambition that fuels innovation could also entangle OpenAI in moral compromises. Heiji explores how Altman's personal and political life intersect with his technological ambitions. She shows how he navigates a complex landscape of policy, investors, and futurist thinkers, sometimes aligning with progressive causes, at other times making cold-eyed deals that raise ethical questions. Through her exhaustive reporting, she portrays him as deeply human, visionary, but fallible, charismatic, but polarizing. Ultimately, Heiji invites readers to reflect on a profound question. Can one person shape the future of intelligence without losing hold of their principles? Altman's story, as she frames it, is not just about building a company. It's about inventing tomorrow. Whether he succeeds or not, his journey may be emblematic of our era, racing toward transformative power, caught between existential risk and boundless opportunity. The book leaves us with an image of Altman as a quasi-science fiction figure, a man not merely riding the AI wave, but riding it. Click on the subscribe button. Let us know in the comment the book you would love us to summarize for you.